What is happening? Welcome to the Plus Pitch Podcast, the morning pitching podcast from, oh my gosh, I can do this. I know we're live, doesn't matter. What is happening? Welcome to the Plus Pitch Podcast, your morning pitching podcast from pitcherlist.com. My name is Nick Pollack. Today is April 14th, and yes, we are going to talk about baseball. I led with Joe Boyle, and going full Boyle, yes, that is a Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference. And should we care about Joe Boyle? Well, he came up in a surprise start. Did not expect this one. And he went 5 innings, 0 runs, 0 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Oh my gosh. Now, he went against Atlanta. Atlanta's been really bad offensively. Sure. But let's talk about this for a second. We have 60% strikes and higher, really more than that, on both the four-seamer and slider, which is right then and there, that is good enough for Joe Boyle to be successful in the majors. It's all about throwing strikes with him. We know this used to be the poster child for having bad command, but good stuff. And now all of a sudden, if you throw enough strikes, you don't even have to have the best command, just have good control. That's all you need to do with that. And we see 98 on the four-seamer, 90-91 on the slider, but there's also a splinker that is a little bit more splitter than it is sinker. 4 for 13 whiffs at 93. I love that. It's nice for Joe Boyle, who doesn't actually have that massive whiff pitch fastball. I know it's weird. It's kind of empty velocity at 98. But to see the splinker in there too, that changes things a bit. That actually can turn into strikeouts, which is why we saw 7 over 5. So I like this from Joe Boyle. I don't know how consistent this is. Keep in mind, he had 2 minor league starts and combined for 6 walks, including 4 innings of 4 walks in his last outing in the minors before this one. I'm not quite sold that Joe Boyle is fixed. The Rays have done their magic, and all of a sudden now Joe Boyle is going to be this amazing thing, just like Tyler Glasnow was before. I don't think we're quite there yet. And what's a little frustrating is not knowing what's next. Because when Joe Boyle got the call, the quote was saying, hey, yes, we want to give a little extra rest to our starters. This is a spot start. We don't really think he's going to stick around. That said, Zach Littell isn't looking very good. So maybe Joe Boyle does stick around. Maybe they make this a 6-man. I don't know. Do I think that we need to go and get Joe Boyle right now? Probably not. I think he's more of a hipster at the moment right now, headache-inducing pitcher, stifling the entire roster. As yes, that is an amazing line yesterday from Joe Boyle. And I don't think we're going to get that every time. I think it's going to be a lot of bomb with the cherry, right? So it's not really a must-add for me. He's not fixed yet. And he might not even start for another little bit. So if you want to do a spec guy, especially like a 15-teamer, fine. But I don't feel you have to go and do this now because it might just be a wasted bench spot for the week. Michael King was amazing with a complete game shutout. There's the king that we coronated. Oh, ace is going to ace. Yes, it's Rocky Road. Fine. The sweeper and the four-seamer were just not good, but the changeup was so good. And the sinker worked well, and it's the Rockies. And having your stud do what they're supposed to do against bad teams is cool. Kodai Senga, 7 innings, 0 runs against the Athletics. 4 hits, 2 walks, and 4 Ks, just 9 whiffs, and a 24% CSW. And I'm happy to see that he has 2 things going. One, the wider arsenal, that he had actually 6 pitches going. And you have some curveballs, you have some sweepers, you have some sliders and sinkers for 22% of all of Senga's pitches. Now, that's like 80% cutters and four-seamers and splitters. Sorry, the ghost fork, whatever you want to call it. So I guess that's actually 7 pitches, I should say. But it is nicer to see the wider arsenal. Now, what did we get from the main 3, though? We got that harder fastball, 96, not 94 and change. Good. We saw cutters in the mix. Well, it was weird to see actually lower strikes on it. And I normally see that as like a 70% strike pitch and not like sub 60. But it was really close to the plate. They just didn't chase it fine. It did help out the four-seamer. And we also saw the splitter do normal splitter things. So everything is pretty cool here. This is the better Senga. This is like the well-rounded one. I think also cutters should be a little bit better moving forward. Maybe that will lead to more Ks. But it really just meant that Senga went through this one pretty easily against the Athletics in Sacramento, and you love to see it. Ace is going to ace for Hunter Green because let's be honest, he's just been so good. He's a different pitcher now. Over 99 on the fastball on all the starts. He's gotten slider strikes at 60% or higher in all of the starts. And yeah, the vert came down. It wasn't like 17 or so inches of vert. It was like 15 to 16. Fine. But yeah, Hunter Green, you've arrived. I should not have doubted you. And Ace is going to ace. And watch, you're going to not be good anymore. No, you should be. Matthew Liberatore had a really good game. Nate Schwartz was tweeting about how Matthew Liberatore was sitting at 96. He was going harder in velocity. Maybe there's a new thing going on here. Well, he settled in at 95, which we've seen in the past from Liberatore. At least it's not 93.5, 94. But what the main thing that I've been like yelling at him about is, well, two things. One, the slider needs to dominate lefties, and it did. And actually was really good on both sides of the plate, which is cool. 11 for 30 whiffs, so this was really like the slider start. But I love the fact that he's trying to throw the changeup against righties. That has been a weird thing for me. When I see a lefty that doesn't have a changeup, you got to be like a really good Robbie Ray then, right? Or a Garrett Crochet kind of type. But we've seen Reagans, we've seen Scooble, we've seen Tyler Anderson, we've seen Cody Bradford, we've seen Jeffrey Springs, all of these lefties that, yeah, you generally need to have that changeup as a nullifier. And Liberatore not having the overwhelming fastball means that, yeah, you got to have that changeup for right-handers. You can't always just get by with that that slider. And we did see it. He was featuring it 25% of the time to right-handed batters. He threw this pitch overall just 5% of the time last year. So what does that mean? Is it good? Not really, but I think it's nice that it's there. It's not a terrible pitch, and I think this is something that Liberatore will continue to throw and work towards, and that's great. Is he going to be able to go 6 innings, 0 runs, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts against the Phillies? Probably not consistently, but maybe. Maybe there's something here that we actually should be latching onto with Matthew Liberatore gain this opportunity for the Cardinals. He gets the Mets next. The slider shouldn't be as good as 11 over 30 whiffs. That's over a 33% swing strike rate, guys, and we know that that's not sustainable. But maybe this is Matthew's Liberatoration. That's what I wrote, and I'm going to stick with it. My delirium is great. Trust me. 7.2 innings of 1 earned run for its 0 walks for 10 Ks. For who? Why, that's Cole Reagans. Pew, 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 guys. Golden goal, 20 whiffs, 38% CSW. And what's so crazy to me is he only threw 9 sliders and cutters combined. All of them were strikes, 9 for 9. But you know this. Cole Reagans has this form where he's able to throw sliders and cutters and changeups and curveballs and fastballs and at any point and be able to throw them effectively and locate them well. I have not actually seen that guy maybe since like 2023. And he struggled with it a lot last year. It was why we had some volatility with him. Right now, how is he dominating? Well, this one was actually kind of interesting with his curveball getting more than like a 50-55% strike rate. It was 71% strikes. So he just went 4-seamer curve and then these, 4-seamer changeup and then these curveballs. And yeah, there were some strikes on the cutter and slider, as I mentioned, but man, Cole Reagans is just so fun. You should be very happy you got him and King. You did that, right? Cool, awesome. I didn't because, of course, I don't spend that high on pitching. Anyway, Garrett Crochet was also dope. 7.1 innings and 1 earned run, 1 hit, 11 walks, 18 with 34% CSW. It was against the White Sox, his former club. What is interesting about Crochet is that his extension is only 6.7 feet. And Crochet was the guy that taught me if you have 7+ feet of extension while throwing hard and good fastballs that are like in the zone, like not necessarily the best shape to them, but just you are consistently pounding the zone with high velocity and good extension fastballs, that is the method. You do that off of your cutter. But he's actually not at the extension. It's like Blake Snell not doing the Blake Snell blueprint, right? He also has these sinkers, by the way, Crochet, to right-handers. He threw 17% of the time. I think that's just making it just so much harder for guys. So I love it. It's great. I just feel weird that he's not getting the extension. Luis Severino is kind of one of those guys. I'm like, yeah, sure, you're a Toby. 5.2 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 Ks. I like that he's embracing the cutter to lefties, because he was 4-seamer, sinker, and sweeper, and that generally leaves a hole for how you approach left-handers. A cutter should do that. It's around 94 miles per hour. It's not amazing, but it should help, and he's fine. He's a Toby against the Brewers. Simeon Woods Richardson had a good start against Detroit. 5 innings of 1 earned run, 5 hits, 0 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He got the win. Yeah, I don't really love what he does. It's 93-94. He is getting decent vert on it, but there just isn't enough in this. It's not really anything exciting across his entire arsenal. I wonder if Woods Richardson is fighting for his life to stave off Zebby Matthews. Pablo Lopez shouldn't be out for long. I chatted this with him. He said it's a very minor one. He doesn't feel it should be out for long. It's just one of those things of like you don't want to push it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pablo Lopez returns after the minimum stay, or maybe just 1 extra week for that. Not like a month and change as we have seen from hamstring injuries in the past, which means that, okay, then you have a roster crunch. You have, let's say Festa sticks around. then who gets ousted of that rotation with Pollack and Richardson there? There's also Zebby Matthews knocking on the door. Simmons with Richardson might not be long for this rotation, is what I'm trying to say. They only trust him for 78 pitches here against Detroit. Logan Gilbert Ace is going to ace 5 innings, 7 Ks. You can go more than 5. You're in Seattle, but fine, whatever. If you guys read the roundup, you'll understand that I watched the first episode of Black Mirror. That's all. Colin Ray, 3.2 innings of 1 run, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Hey, look, he's now starting because Justin Steele, oh boy, Justin Steele, I am so sad. I'm so sad that you are not going to be on our rosters for the rest of the year. You have UCL reconstruction surgery, and it just stinks. It just stinks. We were really in on him entering this year also, and I feel like this was his season to really just showcase to everybody how good he is. Unfortunately, that won't be the case. Colin Ray is going to be getting starts now. It does also mean that Ben Brown's rotation spot is solid. Also, if Caleb Killian was released by the Cubs, which okay. Colin Ray actually will be a streaming option this year. He's also 2 ticks higher at about 94, 95 now, like 94.8, which is kind of interesting. Maybe that means that he has a higher floor than he used to. Also, this is 3.2 innings of 1 run against the Dodgers. I'm just saying, he's only at 68 pitches. You don't do this now, especially not against the Snacks moving forward. But I don't know. Colin Ray should be on your streaming list. You have Tyler Glasnow. Ace is going to ace against the Cubs, 7 Ks in 6 innings. Everything is really cool. And I do have to tell you things about Shane Smith. There's been a lot of talk about him, understandably so. And we're going to talk about him after this break. Shane Smith, 6 innings, 200 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Got the loss against the Red Sox because he's a part of the White Sox. Let me say something quickly here. I get hyped about a lot of guys. And the story of Shane Smith to me is so exciting because no one cared about him. He's a Rule 5 draft pick from the White Sox, the first overall pick in the Rule 5 draft. And I noticed in spring 2 things. 1, that he was throwing hard. And 2, that the White Sox were utilizing him as a prospective starter. And I think early, like in the first week or second week of spring, doing my SP roundups that I do in spring training, of going over every single minor league start and just kind of catching what's interesting, what might have some value. I said, look, Shane Smith actually could get that 5th spot over Bryce Wilson, and he might actually be interesting because he throws hard and maybe has some good changeups and sliders in there as well. And it's the most fun thing for me seeing these pitchers who we give zero attention to all of a sudden become interesting and actually have success. Does that mean that they need to be must adds in your fantasy leagues? No. And in the case of Shane Smith, he is not a finished product, and I want to be very clear about that. His first, second, third innings are generally very fun and exciting because he's at 96 and he's throwing harder in those moments. And then the stamina weakens by this 55 pitches, 60 pitch mark. He's slowing down in velocity. He's down to 94, 93. The changeup isn't necessarily as good anymore, as sharp. And this was 80 pitches, really, for 6 innings for Shane Smith. I'm happy he got through it. Only 3 Ks, 10 whiffs. This is something that needs to be refined a bit. He's not quite there. The changeup we know can be so filthy. It wasn't actually well spotted in this one. The slider got him through a bit against right-handers. That's cool. It's not like the most ridiculous slider. It's a harder one that he can spot pretty well, but it's not your Filth McGee. The four-seamer, yeah, when he locates that upstairs, it should do well. It's not the greatest four-seamer you'll ever see. So it's a guy that, once he's stretched out in full, should be a very productive starter, should be someone that you generally hold on to in 12-teamers. But right now, he is not a must-add. Also, remember, it's the White Sox. They are not going to help Shane Smith get wins. So just keep that in mind. In 15-teamers, sure. 12-teamers, you don't need to do this. It's not even a guarantee that as the season goes on, he turns into something that is like your SP4 or something like that. I don't think we're going to see that from Shane Smith this year. I would be ecstatic if we do. And he is that potential breakout guy, but I don't suggest banking on that and turning down more consistent production now. So Zach Gallen against the Brewers. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Hey, I'm glad to see this worked out. It was weird to see just 14% curveballs from Zach Gallen. Regardless, he throws them against lefties or righties. A lot more changeups in this one. He's trying to figure this whole thing out. Four-seamers really led the way, and he did command them well in this one. Even though he was a tick down, he got a lot of called strikes on it. So we just keep starting Gallen. Even though I've been all doom and gloom about him, I get it. You just kind of keep going with him. He should be like your SP3, SP4. That kind of thing, right? Okay. It's just really more of the warning signs that if it does get really, really bad and continues to be, yeah, maybe it actually is something that you don't hold on to. Freddie Peralta against the Diamondbacks, 5.1 innings of 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. We got some Professor Chaos, and honestly, it wasn't the normal one we see of just like the scatter plot. It was actually just the jaws being too wide, of being too high or too low, instead of just the whole rounded thing. So it's fine. We're all good. And also, yes, you have to do Peralta reference when we have a going full Boyle for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? Come on. You have Nathan Eovaldi at Seattle, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 0 walks, and 3 Ks. Curve is still there. Splitters are good. The four-seamer cutter weren't the greatest locations, but everything is fine. Kapovich, you don't want to start Kapovich. It's just not enough there. Hayden Wesneski had a really good start against the Angels. It was 6 innings, 3 earned runs, but 5 hits, 0 walks, and 10 Ks. Got the win. He's always been considered as a win chance guy for me, but now you see 10 Ks and you go, oh. He's really a sinker sweeper guy, which is kind of interesting. We saw the sweeper in full force. It was like a 49% CSW. And that works well against right-handers. The four-seamer is not good, and I think he overthrows it. It's really not a good pitch. So it's about the cutter curve change really developing against the lefties. I think I saw a better version of that in his last start. This one, not as much, and I see 10K is fine. He just dominated righties against the Angels, okay? Like, that's really what happened here. I'm glad that he got all the put away rate. He executed in 2 strike counts better than usual. Awesome. But there is work to be done against the lefties for Hayden Wesneski. Now, I do like the extension. I do like that he has this sinker and sweeper that look good. We need to see something a little bit more to deal with lefties who feel great about it. Cal Quantrill, yeah, don't go for Cal Quantrill, okay? 5 walks in 5 innings against the Nationals. Logan Webb just had one of those bad games. And 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 9 base runners with 4 walks and 5 Ks against the Yankees. He just couldn't locate well here. The changeup was just 13% CSW, which is so weird. Badly located cutters. His sinkers were over the middle of the plate. It was just a bad game. We move on. Chris Sale honestly looked like he should be great, and it just was a bad one. It was at 96 and not like 92.7 like the previous one. So we're fine with Chris Sale. It's weird. What are you going to do? Zach Wheeler, also, this was a weird one. I had to make this joke public, which was just, why is Zach trying to reinvent the Wheeler? Because what? 6 innings, 4 earned runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 3 Ks. This is the second straight start of Wheeler not being great. And this one was him experimenting with his secondaries. 36% sweepers to right-handers and 39% cutters to lefties. No. You're supposed to be four-seamer sinker. And then you have these sporadic ones in there, right? It's supposed to be like 20% other things. So it's weird. At the same time, the four-seamer and the sinker were the pitches that got hit hard and not those secondaries. It's just, I don't know. I like the fact that he was able to throw those and then have success with them, but it's just strange because Zach Wheeler shouldn't be having failure with his four-seamer and sinker to need to throw those other ones. Mackenzie Gore, 6 innings, 400 runs, 8 hits, 3 walks, 7 Ks. Yeah, he's a hipster, headache-inducing pitcher stifling the entire roster. I'm still going to think about this constantly, how aggressive I was in that first one. But then again, it was behind the cliff. That is, like, of all the things that are going on at the beginning of the season, like, here's a guy who just destroyed the Phillies and has a new slider. Maybe that's a bigger new thing. Who knows? But you're thinking to yourself, okay, Gore, you must have had a tough matchup. No, this was at Miami. You never know. You do well against the Phillies and Dodgers, and you do badly against Miami. That's Mackenzie Gore. Ben Lively almost had a very poor quality start, but allowed one too many home runs. All right, he's a 15-teamer, Toby, and streaming option for your 12-teamers. Carlos Rodon almost got through this, but threw a bad curveball to Jung Ho Lee, and honestly, it was just Jung Ho Lee, 2 home runs from him, and that was it. Was the problem here? Really good to see the slider cooking at 47% CSW. Was 5.2 innings of 400 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. So close. Casey Mize, yeah. What was kind of funny to me was that last game was on a Monday, and I did the list, And I didn't move Mize at all based on that game that was going on against the Yankees, right? In the Bronx, and it was, or maybe it was in Detroit, doesn't matter. It was flurrying, it was bad weather, all that stuff. So I kept Mize down, and then in the roundup that night, I said, "Look, I know he had a good outing from a Lions perspective, but this was strange weather, and I'm not really seeing anything that was, exceptional here. I'm going to leave this because I'm still concerned for the same reasons about Mize, which is that he's not really throwing a better fastball. His splitter is looking better, but is that enough? Because it's a new slider and breaking ball, curveball, I should say, really like a slurve is what they're calling it. And I hate that. His breaking stuff is maybe different, but it's not great. It's still not enough for me to feel like he has a really good number 3 pitch. And I think Reddit was really upset. They're like, "Oh, he looked really good in this. Why do you hate Mize?" All this stuff. Oh, Reddit will always be Reddit. But guess what? 5.2 innings of 4 runs, 7 hits, 0 walks, and 3 Ks. And yeah, this is like, I'm not seeing enough for me to say, "Oh, Casey Mize is a brand new thing. We should really change how we feel about him and go after him and all that." He's a Toby for 12 teamers. Okay. Like, that's it. For your 15 teamers, yeah, you have to hold out to him. 12 teamers, you don't really need to. Jose Barrios, oh man, 5 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 6 Ks. I needed a win from him. I felt so weird streaming Barrios, but I could in my league, and I tried it. 36% CSW and 7/22 changeup with so good. 39% strike rate on his curveball, so bad. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Barrios is the great undulator, and that's that. Carmen Moljinski, not very good. And honestly, in his previous start, was a little more encouraged by the way he was using sweepers and sliders and maybe having some excitement, a little bit on his 4-seamer. Not there today. I don't like this. And this was at Cincinnati. Nope. And the 2 Kyles, Kyle Freeland and Kyle Hendricks. Which one is Kyle to? Doesn't matter. Just say no. Freeland was away from Coors in San Diego and was terrible. And Hendricks got the Astros. And that's not where you want to go for Hendricks. You want to go in a nice, cushy matchup that might be a good stream. That's it. All right, that is it for today's episode. I will be streaming, of course, live the list later today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Come on by. But that is it. So my name is Nick Pollack, and may your bouts be low and your strikeouts high.